Welcome to a special edition of Mormon Land, a podcast all about the news and culture of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and other Mormon faiths. I'm religion reporter Peggy Fletcher Stack, and I taped this episode while on assignment in Kenya. It took more than 3 decades for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to grow its membership in Kenya from a handful in the late 1980s to more than 21,000 today. These days, though, the number of conversions is rapidly rising in this East African country, and it now even has the first Latter-day Saint temple in the region. Such recent expansions brings with it challenges brought by having young lay leaders, expanding its programs for all ages, adapting to cultural practices like bride price, a kind of dowry, and finding new meeting houses across urban and rural landscapes. Here to discuss obstacles the Utah-based faith faces in Kenya is Denis Mukasa, who serves as a stake or regional president and directs the faith's humanitarian work in the area. He is joined by his wife, Eunice Kavaya Mukasa. Okay, first I want you to tell me how each of you came into the church, and then a little bit about how you met and what the church was like when you got married and how it's changed to now.
So the first time I came into contact with the church was through the missionaries. I had just finished high school and I was in the market and I met a friend that I went to school with, proselyting with the missionaries. And he introduced me and came to our home, and that's how I learned about the church.
Were you raised in another church?
Yes. My mom goes to an African church. It's Christian, of course, but it's called African Divine Church. So that's where I was raised. And so before I met the church, I actually had a background of, Jesus Christ. I had been taught that about the Savior and how to worship him. But when I met the missionaries and they taught me about the gospel, I felt they were teaching me more of the good things that I had already learned in my home. So in 2008, I was baptized and I became a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Say a little bit more about what you liked about the church. What appealed to you? Like you said, you already knew about Jesus and good things of Christianity. But what specifically did you like about this church?
The first time the missionary invited me to their sacrament, I think it's the warmness that was there. People were so warm, smiling, inviting. I think that's what made me come again and again. I felt like this is a community that I would want to be a part of. And then also when the missionaries were teaching me about the gospel, I had so many questions. And so a lot of those questions were answered in those lessons. So that's also was one part of made me, come to the fold. Yeah.
Okay, Denis.
Yes. So for me, I came in contact with the church when I started living with my uncle just after high school. I moved from upcountry to the city to pursue my university education. And at that time, my uncle, who is now an emeritus general authority, is actually Elder Sitati. Yeah, so my sister and I came to live with him. And then it was through that movement that we were introduced to the missionaries. And the missionaries, of course, taught us the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we made the decision to get baptized. Not because Elder Sitati really was a member, because he made it clear that this will be our choice. our free will, really. So we made a choice to get baptized at that point. That was in 2004, in June. That's when I got baptized as a member of the church.
And what appealed to you about the church?
So what appealed to me, there are various things that appealed to me, but the fundamental thing that appealed to me was the plan of salvation. Because the first time I heard about the plan of salvation, it was then that everything that I had, that I was thinking about, that I had questions about made sense regarding where we came from, why we're here, and also where we're going. The doctrine of baptism of little children, well, for the first time, it made sense that little children below the age of accountability don't need to be baptized, and that made sense. The other thing that appealed to me was that in the church, we don't have paid lay ministers, our bishops or teachers, branch presidents. No, we don't pay them. And that was something that also was endearing to me, because I knew when I was giving my tithing, it was not going to someone's pocket, but going to do the work of the Lord. And also the other thing that appealed to me was just the order that exists in the church and the support of members. Like my wife said, the warmth of members. I was very well received before, during, and after baptism. So that made me have a very good foundation in my early years as a member of the church.
So when did the two of you get married? How did you meet? Where did you meet?
So we met in the stake choir. I joined the choir and he was there. So that's where we met. And we were just friends. And then I decided to go on a mission. And I went on a mission and he wrote me every single P-day. So he never missed a P-day. So
Where did you serve?
Temple Square.
Temple Square in Utah?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I came back, and so we just hit it off, and later on we engaged and we got married in 2014.
Did you serve a mission?
Yes, I served my mission in Ghana Cape Coast Mission from the year 2006 to 2008.
And did you live, after you got married, did you live here in Nairobi? Or where did you live?
Yes, we lived in Nairobi. After I got married, we started off our lives here in Nairobi. The place where we started life is actually really the same region where we're still currently staying. And it's not very far from the temple. It's about maybe 10 minutes drive from the temple. So that's where we started, in a humble, small apartment. It's two of us, but we have still grown. We have since grown as a family. So we moved out of that house. We are in a bigger apartment, but we are still in Nairobi. Yeah.
And how have you seen the church change over these since you both got baptized?
When we got baptized, myself, when I got baptized, I was baptized into the then called Westlands branch. We had one stake in Nairobi, one mission in Nairobi, and really we didn't have a lot of districts. Very few congregations in the whole of Kenya. But since then, the church has grown. When I compare, when I was baptized 21 years ago, at that time it was a branch. That branch has now given birth to another, it became a ward, and then it has given birth to another ward. And that branch where I was baptized in is actually where the temple is at currently. So it has grown in leaps and bounds. And right now in Nairobi, we have, from that one stake at that time, now we have 3 stakes in Nairobi, but a total of 4 stakes in Kenya. And the church still continues to grow. I will say currently the annual growth rate is about, give or take 10%, average of 10% per year. And the people of Kenya are beginning to increasingly know more about the church than the previous years, where the church was relatively unknown among many people.
How have you seen the church change besides growth?
If I compare the growth of the church since when I was baptized and up to now, I would say people are more receptive. When I joined the church, there was a lot of, negativity, I would say, towards the church. But now people are being more receptive. People are listening, even if they are not even if some are not joining or rather being baptized, they can see that, the church is a good place and we as members of the church are good people. And so that is impacting us positively. And also that it's like, I feel like over time, those are like seeds being planted. And so people who are negative, they are now being receptive and listening to the gospel. And I feel like that has contributed to the growth, to the growth of the church. Yeah.
What was it like being a missionary in Salt Lake City?
Besides the cold, it was also a very good exposure for me. Being able to meet people from all over the world, I don't know where you can see that. And, just to share the gospel and invite them unto Christ, that was a very good experience for me.
Mormon Land will be right back.
So what do you think are some of the challenges? You already spoke about some of the negativity. Tell me some of the challenges for the church members and for missionaries. What kinds of things are they facing?
Okay. So we have, as the church is growing, yes, there are challenges that come with the growth. So one of it is with members' growth. Of course, there is aspect of a very young population of the church. Most of the church members actually, I would say the median age maybe is about around 23 years there. So in terms of developing leaders, sometimes that's a challenge in some of the units to find leaders who are experienced in the church and also conducting training. So that of course calls for a lot of training to catch up with the growth that the church is experiencing. The other challenge is distance, especially in the rural areas where the church is also growing currently rapidly. So new members have to travel long distances to go to where a unit is. Sometimes they have to travel even two hours just to go to where a unit is, and oftentimes it's very expensive for them. And in rural communities, people don't have a regular source of income, a salary. So also that poses a challenge in terms of transportation costs. The other challenge is self-reliance among our members, and this cuts across the country. A large part of our members struggling with the temporal self-reliance needs. But the church has come in strongly with the self-reliance program to help them to boost their self-reliance abilities. Yes, with missionaries, I will say, we don't have enough missionaries. So they also have a very large, vast areas to cover. So sometimes they're overwhelmed by the numbers of people that they really need to teach because of the distance. They also have to go very far, and sometimes they don't have the capacity to do so.
What percentage of your missionaries are Americans versus Kenyans or other Africans?
Currently, wow, that's a question the Bishop President will better answer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know the exact figure. But right now, the percentage of Americans, what I can say is that it has gone down compared to, let's say, 10 years ago. The percentage of American missionaries has significantly gone down, and the percentage of African missionaries has gone up. So I think right now I can say is about 40%, roughly, about 40%. But to get accurate figures, we need to talk to the mission president.
So would you say you spoke about the youth, and both of you joined right after high school or right around high school, right? Is that the population that seems to be attracted? The high school or college young people more than older people?
Yes. That's the population that seems to be attracted. Mostly because they're able to relate to the missionaries, and then also because of the rural-urban migration. So the church is very strong in the urban areas, and they get the youth who come, they get attracted to the church's programs. We have the institute and seminaries. We have the self-reliance programs that usually attracts them.
Pathway?
Yeah, Pathway. Yes, very good. Pathway. That makes them attracted to the church. Yeah, and also other church activities like dances, sporting activities.
Would you say that most of the people joining come from a Christian background already?
Yes, in fact, I would say 99%.
99%. Okay.
Yeah, come from a Christian background. Most of them come knowing the basics of the gospel. They come believing in God. They believe in Jesus Christ. They believe in the Holy Ghost. They believe in doing good. They believe in keeping the 10 Commandments. So we just add to the truth that they already have within the house.
You're probably not allowed to convert Muslims, or how is that? Is it against the law?
No, it's not against the law. In fact, one of our former bishops was a Muslim convert. He converted from Islam. So it's not against the law of the land for a Muslim to convert. But I don't know about the laws of Islam, but I suppose it's difficult for them to convert from Islam to Christianity. Yeah, but we have several members who were previously Muslims. Yeah.
What are your dreams for the future?
In the church or?
In the church, yeah.
Okay, our dreams for the future in the church is to see the church really being viewed in positive light among the people here in Kenya, to see the church impacting the society positively, and many people coming to know the church for what it truly is. And of course, the church growing everywhere. I see a time where we'll have maybe even 5 missions. We have perhaps another temple announced in Kenya. Yeah. And most people joining the church. That's, I would say that's my dream, to have at least, if 10% of Kenyans can join the church, that will be fantastic. That will be about 5 million Kenyans. Yeah, which will be very nice. Yeah, but really just for the church to be seen in good light for what it truly is.
Are there any local cultural customs that are hard for members, like bride price, or do they still have that? Or what about, like I know in some African countries, there's a coming of age ritual for young men that involves drinking and things like that. Do they have that here?
Well, yes, we have, in Kenya, we have 43 tribes. So each tribe has their own cultural and traditions. So we have, some of the traditions are like initiation traditions,
yes,
like circumcision. Well, that one in the church, really, we haven't seen it as a big challenge. It has not been a big challenge, because now with the upcoming of scientific development, most initiation usually nowadays happens in the hospitals. That's circumcision, young men's circumcision. And then you talked about bride price. So yes, that cuts across all communities, almost all the communities. So sometimes that acts as a hindrance for the young people when they want to get married. And when they face a situation whereby the parents are really insisting on bread price and they don't have the resources, then they end up living together without going through the normal processes. And of course, if they do that, then they are contravening the commandments. So that's one of the challenges. That's some of the cultural challenges that are there. But
is it getting to be less, though, in the younger generation?
yes, it's getting to be less. Because even now the parents who are now...
it's kind of a rural thing more than urban, right?
Yeah, because even now the parents are much younger, so they are more accommodating. Yeah, so it's not that strict as it used to be. Yeah.
Did you guys have to do it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we had to do it. But for us, it was not really. It wasn't much of a challenge as such, because we had the support of family. Both families were agreeable, and we in our culture we don't have to pay everything at once. You pay gradually over time. Both of our families, most of them are not members, so they will not understand when you say you can't pay, but you pay, but gradually. So that made it easier. Yeah, we pay small every year.
Is the word of wisdom hard here? The no coffee or tea thing, is that hard for people to join? Give that up?
Yeah, Kenya is known for its good coffee and tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when when people just don't understand why, they don't have to. And I've seen people who have, they love the gospel, but they are struggling with the word of wisdom. Yes, so the word of wisdom is something that people really struggle with. They just don't understand why they don't drink coffee or tea or my bottle of wine. So, yeah.
Do you think it's kept some people from joining?
No, not really. No. Because for most people, in as much as yes, they love their tea and their coffee, but if someone really wants to join the church, then they will just join. Some of them will still continue to, take their tea and coffee. But over time, they will win themselves over it. Especially, and this is for those who are truly addicted to the tea or coffee. But most of the time, it's not a challenge. Maybe except for alcohol. But
alcohol?
Tea or coffee is not a challenge at all. For most people.
That's good. Anything else? What about the involvement of women? How is that perceived in the church? Priesthood is for men, but women have in the church more active. I mean, they can certainly speak from the pulpit, that sort of thing. How is that? Eunice, how do you see the women's role in the church?
For me, I'm okay with it. Traditionally, Africans, men are the ones who lead, and the women support them. So for me, that is not a problem for me. So in the church, the way it's organized and the way everything is organized, I think men and with the history of the church, men having the priesthood and I feel like the church has evolved also through time with time. So many things are changing and they're giving women more roles to play. So yeah, given my background and where I was raised, for me that's not an issue.
Did either of you have trouble with your families when you wanted to join the church? Did you face any resistance from your family members?
I wouldn't call it resistance, but of course there were comments that were made here and there. In my family, we are raised for people to make their own decisions. So when I announced that, I showed up at home with the Book of Mormon, and it's a book that everybody have had. In Kenya, I find many people bring opposition with the Book of Mormon. So, I had comments here and there, but no, like nobody said, no, you shouldn't join, you shouldn't do this, but there were many comments that were made. Yeah.
What about you? Did you have any
opposition? No, I did not have any opposition from my family. Yeah, but as soon as said, from friends, some friends were like, you are joining the wrong church, you will regret it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I've not yet regretted it, so. But families were very supportive. They said, we support your decision, and we respect what you are doing, so it was okay. But for some members, they get really strong opposition.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Just tell me, you talked about your dreams a little bit. What do you want the people of our listeners, are mostly in Utah, what would you like them to know about what it's like to be a Latter-day Saint in Kenya?
What I would like them to know is, being a Latter-day Saint in Kenya, I think has a different experience. I haven't been to Utah myself, but I will imagine here is a bit different because of the stage of growth that the church is in at the moment. We are still relatively in our young growth stage, so there are some challenges even in how we run our programs. Some of our programs are not run in the ideal way they're supposed to be run. Let's say like primary programs or young women programs. So just like them to know that yes, we might be having a different experience, but the faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, is the same. In fact, even here you'll find it's stronger because of the challenges that people face through, but they still have to endure those challenges and overcome them as they strive to serve the Lord. Maybe Eunice, you have been to Utah, you can compare and see the difference between them.
Yeah, when I landed in Salt Lake, I went to Provo MTC, and then I went back to Temple Square. Also, when you serve on Temple Square, you're given an opportunity to go and do an outbound mission, like go to a proper proselyting. I mean, Temple Square is good, but proselyting mission. And I had an opportunity to be in those wards in New Hampshire. And I couldn't stop comparing where, the church in Kenya and the church in New Hampshire. And just like Denis has mentioned, when you coming from Africa, there are so many challenges that you see sometimes. Like in a ward, for example, people are getting baptized new, and then they're given callings, and you can see the struggles that comes out of trying to maneuver into those callings. And so I felt like in what I saw in America, things were so seamless, So, yeah, and here I felt like, things are okay, if I may say it that way. And here in Africa, we are still struggling a little bit here and there. Not bad, but we are still struggling here and there. And so, but this was 10 years ago, So throughout the years, I feel like we've improved more and more and more and more. And we are doing okay. And Denis said that in his dream is like his future hope is to see the church grow. And that applies to me as well. I would like to see a church in Kenya growing, people embracing the gospel more, not just embracing, but strengthening their testimony in the Savior Jesus Christ, learning more of Him, and just striving to be the best that they can. We might not be able to do things the correct way right now, or we might fall here and there. But when we put our faith or have those stronger testimonies, the Lord will help us to magnify those callings, to make sure that things run smoothly, and we will all grow tenfold, like He said. So not a big difference. And of course, there's so many things that contribute to that infrastructure. Like in Utah, there's chapels everywhere.
Yes.
And Denis mentioned about someone walking 2 kilometers to go to church. So with time, the Lord will pour those blessings on us as we continue to have that faith in Him.
We remind our listeners that they can keep up on all the happenings in and about the church by subscribing to the Salt Lake Tribune's free Mormon Land newsletter. Just go to sltrib.com to sign up, and we'll talk again next week.